Can I tell you the Michael Bolton story?
Fuck yeah.
Who is that again?
Michael Bolton? He sang.
Singer?
You're so 25, bro. You're so 25. Yeah, Michael Bolton sang.
Sorry.
I wish I thought I love you, but I was wrong. Cause not something love could ever be so strong. Like he thought I thought I love you, but I lied. Cause love, I don't know, some bullshit. Michael Bolton's a singer. He sang. You would know him from the Lonely Island song.
Hilarious. I do know him from the Lonely Island video. Yeah.
Captain
That's
Jack
so funny.
Sparrow.
You know, that happens a lot. That happens a lot now where that's so funny. That is where I know him from. That happens a lot now where it's like, I don't know a cultural reference. And I'm like, oh, but I remember in middle school when they talked about that on Family Guy.
Yes.
Like I learned about it like secondhand through parody. So,
Yes.
okay, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
So I had never drank before, and so it's just actually crazy. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'll just tell the story. I was dating this girl, and I wasn't drinking, and she was like, she was a buyer for Toys R Us, so she would pick the toys that Toys R Us would sell, and she was quitting the job.
Movers and shakers.
Yeah, she was pretty cool, and I collect action figures, so I was pretty excited. Oh, we get invited to this party. It's not a party; it's a Toys R Us event. It's at the Marriott in Times Square. The New York Giants were there. It was hosted by Rosie O'Donnell. It was it was a sponsored Toys R Us event to raise money for
that's crazy
for children,
right?
And like the high ups at Toys R Us got to go, and she brought me, and I had to wear tux, and we took a limo to get there. And she goes,
Friday Night Greg,
Friday Night Energy, whip it up, Friday Night Energy,
Top of the bottom.
Friday Night Energy on Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
So she goes, look, you never drank. She was like, why don't you have a drink at this party? She goes, no one will ever know. So if you don't like it, you can never do it again. But if you do like it, you can decide. But you can't say you hate something if you've never done it. So she's like, you should just try and see if you like it. If you like it, you'll have a good time. If you don't, whatever. But you're in a completely safe scenario. And I was like, okay, I'll try a drink, right? So I had one Malibu Bay Breeze. And the next thing I remember was waking up the next morning in her bed. And this is before digital cameras. So she...
Sorry, that's just a wild sentence.
Yeah, it was before digital. She had photos developed in an hour. It was 1 hour photo.
Oh, my God.
So she woke up before I woke up, went to CVS, had the photos developed, is standing in front of the bed, and she goes, what do you remember about last night? And I said, I remember something about Cabbage Patch Kids. She goes, yes, every table got one limited edition Cabbage Patch Kid. You have 6. And I'm like, wow. She goes, yep. She goes, you were going from table to table, winning these, winning. They weren't even, it wasn't even a competition. She was like, you were winning these. We were just going over there being like, hey, I bet you I'll do all this for that fucking thing. And they were like, yeah, man, this is a work event, right? Just take it and get away. And so I was like, man, I'll bet you I eat all the bread on this table. You give me that Cabbage Patch Kid. They're like, we're 40. We don't want the Cabbage Patch Kid.
You still ate the bread.
Clearly. So then she goes, all right. She goes, what do you remember about Michael Bolton? And I said, I don't know anything about Michael Bolton. I don't know. And I don't know anything about Michael Bolton. And she goes, you're a liar? She goes, you know every song he sings. And I went, and she starts showing me pictures. And I'm looking at these pictures, and I'm like, what happened? She goes, you drank more Malibu Bay Breeze than any man has ever drank before. She goes, your head was passed out on the table. And she goes, I was fine. She was like, man, he had a good time. I'll bring him home. Who cares? Until Rosie O'Donnell says, ladies and gentlemen, your musical guest, Michael Bolton. She was at which point you sprang to your feet. You looked me right in the eye and said, I have to do this. She goes, you sprinted past the New York Giants. She goes, Nobody gave a shit about Michael Bolton at the time. Like he was kind of like a little bit like old. He hadn't made his comeback yet.
Right.
Everyone was too fucking whatever to care. He goes, but he starts singing and you jumped. It was like a little carpet. She goes, you jumped on that carpet with him. And she goes, you sang every word to When a Man Loves a Woman. And I was like, what? And she's like, I was like, why didn't you stop me? She goes, why would I? It was amazing. She goes, like everyone loved it. Michael Bolton hated it. She goes, and you started singing, and then people got into it. It was like amazing. She goes, you were singing cheek to cheek with him. She goes, at one point you were wrapping your hands around him playing guitar on his guitar, and he was loving it. He didn't give a fuck. She goes,
Oh my gosh.
and she shows me the next picture, and it's Michael Bolton literally doing this. And I go, what happened here? She goes, oh, this is when you grabbed the microphone out of his hand, looked at the crowd, and then looked at him and then said, rock me hard and fast, Rod Stewart, and called Michael Bolton Rod Stewart to his face. I was like, what? I was like, I'm so sorry. Did I embarrass you? She was like, I didn't care. He didn't care. Nobody cares. You did 3 more songs together. Then she goes, and then we got in a chemo. We fucked all night. You woke up, and this is where we are. And that was like the first time I ever drank.